Now, prior to the March 18 governorship election, 28 seats were in contention. And after the results, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC nicked 15 states, the opposition People's Democratic Party PDP 8, and the New Nigeria People's Party NNPP 1. Results from 4 states are still being awaited. Perhaps a major upset in the exercise is the Zamfara state governorship poll, where the opposition PDP defeated the incumbent Mohammed Bello Matawalle of the ruling APC. PDP's Dauda Lawal defeated the sitting governor with a vote of 377,726 votes to Matawalle's 311,976 votes. This is incumbency gone wrong, Jide.
Yes. Not many people saw this coming. Zamfara had always voted PDP, always voted APP, and then ANPP, and then APC. Even when Sokoto, that they used to share the same voter behavior with, voted PDP, mainly after Margaret Kadawa Mako joined them. Zamfara still stuck to ANPP. But this time around, we've seen a big upset. I wasn't expecting it, and I can tell you that it came as a shock to many. But the warning was probably not taken seriously in the aftermath of the presidential election, because in the presidential election, APC lost 6 out of the 14 states, and lost the state capital. That's Gusau. And you know the bulk of the votes are in Zamfara Central. So if you lost Zamfara Central during the presidential election, that amounted to some form of alarm bells. But clearly they didn't, they were overconfident. They thought that whatever happened, they will win. But as you've seen, it was even a rout in many of the local governments, because I was looking at the voting pattern.
Yeah.
And you see Gusau, the people of Gusau had not produced the governor of the state since inception. And even when they did produce, it was taken away by the courts. Wow. So they badly wanted their son to emerge this time. And the voting suggested that Gusau delivered 64,640 to the PDP, while APC got 32,172. Then Bukuyum, the PDP got 24,000 to APC's 10,000. In Safe, Safe, very close to the state capital, just on the way to Kaduna, the PDP got 42,188 to 25,805. And then in Zurmi, PDP got 24,328 to APC's 21,027. So he won 10 states and APC won 4. So, and if you couldn't win even the most densely populated areas, and you had this deficit in terms of number of states, then the outcome is very, very predictable. Right now in Zamfara, the PDP supporters are jubilating, but destroying and looting government property in the process. It's crazy what is going on. An election has been won. Why are you destroying property? You know, like the presidential campaign office has been destroyed and looted. this is not the way to respond to victory. But I can also tell you that this was worsened by infighting within the
in the build-up.
It's always been there. You know, I don't think since 2019 these people forgave each other. You know that even the person who just won now, the candidate of PDP, was part of those who resisted the attempt of former governor Yari to impose on the state his own preferred candidates in the guise of what was it called? Consensus. But what the law says is that if one person, if 10 of you agree to do consensus and an individual, just one person says no, then it's no longer, that's the end. So Yari could not convince people like Kabiru Marafa, people like this Dauda Lawal, the former executive director of a major bank in our country, to agree to the choice of candidates that he had made. And that was how they got to court.
Yes.
APC fought against APC in court. They got a judgment at the level of appeal that allowed them to take part in the election. They won the election with a hefty margin, only for Kabiru Marafa to return to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, look, if there were issues with the candidates that you have picked, then one can safely say that you did not have candidates for the election. And the Supreme Court took those candidates away and said the party that came second should form government. That was how the PDP became the beneficiary across board. All of the positions that they lost, they became winners suddenly, and Matawalle became governor. You know?
GKB, and so you are wondering if Matawalle nicked the office by grace of the Supreme Court judgment.
Yes.
He should have worked. It begs the question of, do politicians learn from the mistakes of one another?
He worked. To be fair, he was under tremendous pressure. Don't forget that was the epicenter of a lot of problems in the Northwest during the last 4 years. I think the problem, apart from the problem that he caused when he crossed over to APC, and then the battle started all over again, was that a lot of people in PDP thought that they won the judgment, they won the battle, but they didn't win the war. Because the governor, because of obvious Nigerian factors, decided to now go to the APC and become the party leader, which now led to all manners of rumpus across board.
Yeah.
Because this, of course, will be a major factor why in some areas. Of course, we all know that all politics are local, and there are underlying currents of the Kuzo, other areas, dichotomy, across the states. All these are factors that will come. But like Gide said, once you are given alarm bells, you are given 3 weeks to try to alter what is obviously coming. But obviously the government will not manage it in such a manner that will give them much. Because in some states, as we get to, some people are able to use that window to pull together and then win victory across the board from the defeats that they suffered 3 weeks ago.
Jide, and sometimes you wonder if politicians have redeeming effects from jumping ships, especially in a climate like ours.
You know, in this case, even the people that wanted to join didn't want him. They fought him, but the leadership of the party
defected.
The leadership of the party insisted that, look, he will come in and he will be the leader of the party, because that's the tradition. Wherever you have a sitting governor, he becomes the automatic leader of the party. If in that state the party is in opposition, then the most senior person will be maybe a former governor of the state.
Okay.
That's why you had in Benue, you had someone like Akume becoming the leader of the party because the party was in opposition. So naturally, APC leaders said, look, this governor is in charge and the structures of the party were in his hands. But they fought and fought, and the governor, sensing that he may not be able to win the election if he did not reconcile with these people, made big concessions before they went to the polls. Where a governor, for example, could say, look, I want 2 Senate seats.
Okay.
He was ready to concede everything. The only thing Matawalle told them he was not prepared to concede was his own seat. He conceded assembly seats, he conceded Senate seats, House of Reps. He made big concessions. I can say that.
In the hope that...
In the hope that it will placate the people who were in control of the structures of the party before he's coming into the party.
Who you could say were belly aching. People
like Yari. Yari was the leader of the party before the governor came in. And Yari was effectively the leader of the APC in Zamfara, you know. So he had to make them happy. Made concessions to Marafa, made concessions to Yari. So we have a situation in which those people presented far more people, you know, than the governor. You know, in spite of all this, PDP that had never won election in the state before then, PDP that literally was non-existent in the state, suddenly, yes. People will also say that some of the, apart from even the infighting, because the infighting was so much that even during the last election, presidential election, some of them worked against the party, voted against the party, and even showed their ballot papers for them to know that, yes, we worked, you know.
Just to scorn somebody.
That is, you know, in the APC, I've never seen a party like APC where people do a lot of anti-party activities and they get away with it. They get away with it, you know. And these things have a way of hurting your chances. For example, if the governor of, former governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosun, had stuck with his own party, the ADC that he supported got, the ADC candidate that he supported, Otegbe, got more than 90,000 votes. Whereas Prince Dapo Abiodun merely won with 13,915,000 or so. You can imagine if he had ripped all of those 90-something thousand votes, it would have been a non-assailable lead. But today, the PDP is contesting that, and I'm sure they are going to call because that's a narrow win. Narrower than even what transpired last time. Because last time it was around 20,000 or so. This time around 13,000. You know, he had his heart in his mouth. He lost his hometown to the opposition. Lost Ikene, lost Shagam. That's his base.
Because both of them are from the same.
Yes, they're both from Ikweru, and they are from Remo.
Okay.
But here was the guy flogging the governor in what was supposed to be the governor's base. You know, so...
all right. Let's fan out, you know. GKB, you know, the news is that the APC won in 15 states. So is it possible to look at some of the factors responsible? Let's start from good old Lagos.
Yeah. Lagos is a case study in political princemanship. Because Lagos, out of all the states in the southwest, was the only one that has remained consistently in one camp. They've never tasted any other party coming in since 1999. It's always been APC. So, for 20 years, I've been doing that for 20 years, get to a point where complacency will set in, where you assume that whatever you do, you're going to win anyway.
Okay.
So
GKB, sorry, I'm told we must go on a break very shortly to sort a few things out. We'll be back. Please stay with us. All right, folks, sorry, but thank you for understanding. We can go back to GKB, right?
Yes.
Lagos.
Yes, I was talking about the fact that for the last 22, 23 years, Lagos is the only state in the southwest that has been consistently voting for one party.
Okay.
And so they've gotten complacent when it comes to the issue of galvanizing their base to come out. So a lot of people just assume that the party will win anyway. So it was a rude shock what happened to them 3 weeks ago. And the party went back to the drawing board. I think they held a series of meetings to ensure that they got back to the base.
Yeah.
And then they were able to increase the number of people that came out to vote. And I'm sure they have the numbers. And that reflected in the distance between what the governor got and the nearest contender for the title.
Yeah.
Because on that level, you have to understand that it's not easy. States like Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, and Ekiti have always moved between APC and PDP. But the shock of just assuming that there are no competitions and that you have people are in your face for various other reasons becomes a problem that they have to work.
Jide, even so, the few hotspots we recorded were necessary.
Yes, and you know, my own attitude is let's have credible elections. I've fought for this since I appeared on a political program for the first time on Galaxy TV around 2007. I fought for credible elections. I am still a champion for credible elections. I don't want to see vote suppression. I don't want to see it at all. I don't want to see people being stopped from getting to their polling centers. I don't want to see it. Defeat people in a healthy manner. It's a sport after all. Politics is a game. That's the way I see it. You can win election without beating up people. You can win election without suppressing votes. You can win election without threatening people that if they materialize at polling station that they will be beaten up and all that. And it will seem that that is the new
normalization.
Yes.
It
it makes no sense. Many people don't even want to talk about the gubernatorial elections in our country because violence reared its ugly head tremendously during these gubernatorial elections.
Yeah.
People were beaten. People were stopped from voting.
Intimidated.
And elections, if you see the number of registration areas where elections were cancelled, where the process was cancelled, it will seem that we have just started. Incumbent governors were reluctant to lose. And what they were doing was just try to force the opposition to not have the voice, to not be able to get to polling centers. For this, you can't blame INEC.
At that point, yeah.
Yes, you can't blame INEC. It is the political class. Today, I was reading about Obi Ezekwesili saying to the governors of the Southeast to behave themselves. That don't set the Southeast ablaze. As we speak now, 2 states of the Southeast, their results have not come in. And every other person...
Abia and Enugu.
Even those that came in, there's question mark.
You know? So beating people up is something that I oppose. Some people have been saying, oh, Jide, are you going to say you didn't see this sort of things in Lagos?
Jide, look at this. These are feeds from live pictures here.
Right? You know? So let the will of the people prevail. That is what we want to see. Let the people's vote count. You can still, they asked me the question on your view, that in Lagos, do you think GRV would have been defeated if people were not intimidated, if people were not harassed by roughnecks and all that? Of course, I said yes. I still believe that if the APC mobilized sufficiently it will win any election here. They have the numbers.
Yeah.
And
So
the example that I
question
can
of-
point at
Yeah.
are those places where they didn't have to beat people, they didn't have to harass people, and they won. In Magodo here, nobody was beaten.
Nobody was harassed.
Nobody was harassed. And they won with impressive numbers. You know? So this is the thing. No one, we can't be happy to see people being beaten, you know, because at the end of the day, it casts
A lot of
a
doubt.
huge shadow
Yeah.
on the election.
process.
Once it happens, and you know, people have a way of magnifying these things. They will give the impression that it happened everywhere.
That's it. That's it.
So let's not encourage people to take that position. But I'm worried that this governorship election, in so many places, citizen, people, we saw violence. In so many places, people will target, look at Kebbi, for example. They are going to have inconclusive elections, all because of things like this. So
Yeah.
let's allow the will of the people to prevail. In another 4 years, another election will
That's
come.
it, that's
It's
it.
no big deal.
All right. We have talked so much about GKBI elections being where you have the Machiavellian spirit, you know, win by any and every means. Yeah. Okay, we'll take this break and come back from the commercial break and do some more. Please don't go.